I will never forget the day everything changed. I sat in the HR office, my hands shaking a little under the table. The woman across from me, the head of HR, looked at me with a calm face and said the words that broke something inside me. The salary gap is fair. She said it again, like it was the most normal thing in the world. Fair. I had worked for this company for 6 years. I stayed late almost every night. I missed family holidays. I led projects that made the company millions in profit. Yet my pay was much lower than people who did less work, people who got promoted faster because they were friends with the right managers. I stared at her. You're serious? I asked quietly. She nodded, a small smirk on her lips. The room suddenly felt very cold. I did not yell. I did not argue. I simply took out the resignation letter I had prepared just in case, signed it in front of her, and placed it on her desk. She looked surprised for half a second, but then her face went back to normal. Some colleagues saw me leave. They whispered. A few even smiled like they were happy I was gone. I forced a small smile back and walked out of the building. Inside, my mind was racing. I was angry, hurt, and betrayed. But I decided right then I would not scream or make a scene. I would watch quietly, and they would regret treating me this way. I stepped onto the busy city street. Cars honked. People rushed past. The noise helped cover the storm in my head. This was not just about money. It was about years of stolen credit. My ideas were used in meetings, but someone else got the praise. My hard work on big projects was credited to others. People whispered behind my back that I was not good enough, even though the results showed the opposite. As I walked, I started thinking about all the small things I had ignored before, strange patterns in emails from HR, little lies in reports, favors given to certain people. I remembered a tiny mistake in an HR memo from last week. It was small, almost nothing, but now it looked important. I told myself, be patient. Do not rush. If I do this carefully, that one small mistake could help bring everything down. Revenge was not about being loud. It was about being smart. When I got home, I locked the door and sat at my desk. I opened my laptop and started looking at old emails, project files, meeting notes, everything I had saved over the years. Each file felt like a piece of string I could pull. I found clear proof of mismanagement. There was favoritism. There were lies about who did what. Everything had dates and times. Nothing could be denied. I grabbed a whiteboard and started writing notes. I drew lines between names, dates, and events. My small apartment turned into a quiet war room. I imagined what would happen next. Who would panic first? What would make them lose control? Then my phone pinged. An email from an old colleague. It was short, but it hinted at a big HR problem no one else knew about. My heart beat faster. This was real. For the first time since I left, I felt like I was in charge. I replied carefully and learned more. A manager had reported something wrong with a very expensive project, millions of dollars. The report was hidden. No one followed up. The company acted like no one would ever find out. That arrogance made me smile for the first time. I wrote down every name. Who saw the report, who ignored it, who got money or promotions from it. I thought of safe, legal ways to make this information public one day. This was not wild anger anymore. It was a clear plan. If that hidden report came out at the perfect time, it would hurt them badly. I started reaching out to people I trusted, but very quietly. I called or messaged former coworkers. I asked simple questions without saying too much. Some were tired and done with the company. Some were angry like me. A few were scared, but others wanted to talk. They told me things HR had hidden or forgotten. Every story added more pieces to my puzzle. I made a mental list of bad things the company had done over the years. I knew patience was important. Arrogant people always make mistakes when they think they are safe. That night I wrote a secret list of possible helpers, people who could back up my story later. One senior manager even said quietly that they had proof of HR doing wrong things, but they were afraid to speak. That was enough for now. Every day I looked deeper into old files. I checked emails, spreadsheets, signed approvals, everything. I found proof that my best work was given to others. Presentations I made were changed so someone else looked good. Expenses were approved for some people, but not for me. Every day and time was like a hammer hitting a nail. I put all the important files in a safe online folder that no one could reach. I checked my notes again and again to make sure nothing looked fake. Knowing all this made me feel strong. Then I found something big. A private HR paper that could get many people in trouble if anyone saw it. I kept it safe. I stayed away from the company, but I watched from far. I went to public events they had. I listened to office talk when I could. I saw how full of themselves they were. They laughed when someone mentioned rules or fairness. They treated lower workers badly. They changed numbers to look good. I wrote down everything, their words, their faces, their habits. Silence was my best tool. No one saw me coming. Then I found a video from a company meeting. In it, HR talked about company loyalty like it was the most important thing. But I had papers showing their own rules said something different. That video could be useful later. I reached out to the scared manager again. After some careful talking, they sent me copies of complaints HR had thrown away. Rules were broken. People complained, but nothing happened. Favoritism was everywhere. I saved every detail with dates and names. My group of quiet helpers was getting bigger. Then one email chain showed HR gave big bonuses to their friends, but said no to others. That was against the law. It was clear proof. I noticed HR made stupid small mistakes, things they thought no one would check. A paper filed in the wrong place. An audit step skipped. A memo that said two opposite things. Each mistake was like a weak spot I could push later. I matched them together and guessed how the bosses would react when people found out. Patience was still my strongest weapon. Then I saw something in their payroll records. It proved my salary complaint was real. The numbers did not lie. For weeks I did nothing loud. No calls. No messages. No threats. My quiet exit made them nervous. My old friends inside sent me small updates. They said people were starting to wonder what happened to me. I read the company's public news and saw little lies there too. Then a new boss joined the company. Everyone knew this person was very strict about following rules. The timing was perfect. Soon whispers started inside the company. HR felt something was wrong, but they did not know what. Meetings became tense. Emails sounded defensive. I watched it all from outside, calm and patient. Their confidence made them careless. One day HR called my phone by mistake. They wanted me to come to a meeting. They did not even know I had quit. That call gave me something valuable. On the call they talked too much. They admitted small mistakes without thinking. I wrote everything down. My heart stayed calm. Every word was now proof. They even mentioned a secret company check they thought no one knew about. But I already had a copy from before. I started planning the exact days and order for everything to come out. Each piece of proof had to land at the right moment. I made extra plans in case something went wrong. I pictured their faces when it all fell apart. But I stayed logical. No anger. Just steps. Then I found they had missed a whole project where money was taken wrong. If people knew, it would embarrass them a lot. I tested the water carefully. I used anonymous ways to drop small hints about problems. Nothing I did could be traced back to me. Slowly, people inside started talking about possible bad behavior. The old arrogance turned into worry. Then HR asked one worker to meet, and that worker accidentally told me something that confirmed my thoughts. One day it looked like a friend had betrayed me. An email leaked that pointed to me. But I had expected something like this. I stayed calm. Their panic actually helped me move faster. HR saw some files were gone and started looking inside the company. They did not know I had copies of everything. The company got scared. HR made new rules. Emails were watched. Meetings felt closed. I kept watching quietly, collecting their reactions. A top boss asked HR hard questions in a meeting. I could see the fear. Their strong wall was cracking. My helpers told me about a money problem HR had hidden. The time was right. I got ready to show it to the world. In another meeting, a manager asked questions HR could not answer. More weak spots showed. I sent some proof to the board quietly without my name. Panic grew fast. HR tried to stop it, but every step they took made things worse. Their pride stopped them from seeing the trap I had set. Then HR made a public statement to defend themselves. But the words did not match their own old emails. I saved that mistake. Inside, the company started falling apart. My helpers gave more support. HR could not control the story anymore. My proof was too strong. One HR boss sent a private email admitting part of the blame. I had it saved. Another person almost went public too early. It could ruin my timing. I talked to them quietly and helped them wait. They sent me their report draft. It was perfect for my plan. The bosses tried to twist the story, but more emails came out that proved they were lying. They kept making mistakes because they thought they were still in control. HR set up an emergency meeting. It fit exactly into what I needed. Then the company itself proved my points by accident. They sent out information that showed the errors. Panic hit the top offices. I stayed calm and let them hurt themselves. HR's bad work was now clear to everyone. They tried to fix it, but I had the last big proof. I started letting the truth out slowly and carefully. I shared emails, reports, meeting notes, and stories from others. No one could argue. HR looked bad. Workers watched in shock. The pride they had used against me now destroyed them. Soon HR faced real punishment inside the company. People talked about bosses leaving. HR's good name was gone. Top people ran around trying to save themselves. Official checks proved everything I said. People talked about lawsuits. Some bosses quit. My name became known quietly among old coworkers as someone who was right. I got nice messages from the people who helped me. No big celebration, just quiet thanks. In the end, I sat back and watched everything settle. I felt calm and satisfied. I never yelled. I never lost control. My plan was quiet, exact, and patient. The company learned too late that being arrogant and thinking no one notices is dangerous. They underestimated a person who stayed calm and watched carefully. That was their biggest mistake. Now I move forward to new work, feeling good about myself. I am strong again. The anger is gone. The storm inside me is finally over.